Yes, yes, yes. It's Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio. And today we're looking at Andy Ruiz Jr. signing the paperwork to finalize the Joshua rematch, the clash on the dunes, Ruiz v. Joshua 2. And one interesting aspect which seems to have been overlooked. First and foremost, we look at the article by Charles Brunn. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr. and his management reps have signed the paperwork to finalize his rematch with Anthony Joshua, December the 7th, according to ESPN. The rematch will be taking place, as we know, at an outdoor arena or stadium, 7th of December, Diriyah, Saudi Arabia. If it doesn't work out well for them in the end, they may end up regretting that they chose to force the what? What kind of nonsense is that? What kind of nonsense? Be careful what you wish for. Oh, that's a quote. That's a quote by Ruiz, apparently. It's like a big shark, and he's going to be ready, looking to stop Joshua the second time. Who said that? Where's that quote from? Anyway, sounds like nonsense. Right. As we already know by my previous videos, Matchroom filed a lawsuit against Ruiz. What was his name on the court document? Andreas Ponce Ruiz. Over the weekend. That was last weekend, I believe. Following an agreement by Ruiz, the lawsuit was cancelled on Friday. Yeah, that's right. So that was not this weekend. The lawsuit was filed last weekend. Okay. And cancelled on Friday. So the lawsuit was filed last weekend and cancelled this weekend, according to this article. Ruiz getting his deal sweetened. Okay, so he's getting his deal sweetened. Hearn got a good deal in taking the rematch to Diriyah, and Ruiz, not surprisingly, wanted to have his purse bumped up a little. Ruiz dragged his feet, as we already know. Although the rematch clause is said to have the particulars regarding Ruiz's purse written in for the second fight, he still pushed to have his deal improved for the second fight. Ruiz getting more money is clearly what he wanted, and he's gotten his wish, alleges the article. The fight can now take place on December 7th, Saudi Arabia. Hearn arguably got his way in getting Ruiz to agree to fight Joshua on December the 7th, but that doesn't mean the fight will be taking place on that date. What? If Ruiz suffers an injury during during training camp, he could wipe out that date. Oh, dear. Well, where do I counteract? Where do I start counteracting? Okay, I think that's as good a place as any to start counteracting. Some people are passive-aggressive when they don't get their way. You'll see them showing aggression in an indirect manner. Ruiz doesn't look like he's the type to act out in that manner, but who knows? Okay, so that's the best place for me to start counteracting. The fight for December the 7th, but that doesn't mean the fight will be taking place on that date. If Ruiz suffers an injury during training camp, it could wipe out the date. Okay, well, I'll start counteracting there. Okay, if Ruiz suffers an injury on that date, then it would be rather convenient. This is where Ruiz finally announces that he has accepted I'm excited to announce my rematch with Anthony Joshua. Okay, that's where he accepts it. Okay, 2 days ago. Okay, so what if he suffers an injury? Well, the IBF have mandated that Ruiz fight no later for their title, no later than the 7th of December. No later than that date. If Ruiz pulls out for whatever reason, then the IBF are well within their rights to say, okay, you failed to comply with the ruling. You failed to comply with the ruling. If you fail to show up and fight on December the 7th, then I'm afraid you are stripped, my friend. So the counteraction to that is that Eddie Hearn, I hope he's watching, or if anyone's in contact with him on Twitter, kindly retweet this to him, because now here are the directions to ensure that Anthony Joshua fights for a belt, at least one belt, on December the 7th. Okay, Eddie Hearn must simply, to ensure that Anthony Joshua fights for at least one belt on December the 7th, Eddie Hearn must contact the IBF with this suspicion that Andy Ponce Ruiz, the Ponce, may have a trick up his sleeve. The trick being pulling out at the last minute. So, Eddie Hearn must contact the IBF and arrange that should Andy Ruiz pull out, Anthony Joshua fights the IBF mandated challenger Kubrat Pulev on December the 7th. Obviously, Eddie Hearn must also contact Pulev's camp to make arrangements. The IBF must do likewise to tell Pulev that he must be ready to fight on December the 7th. They must also put a stipend aside for him to ensure that his training camp costs are covered, and more besides, compensate him for 3 months of training, which it will take to be ready for a clash. They've got to put at least $1 million down. $1 million down on the table for Kubrat Pulev, whether he fights or not, to ensure that he is in training for the December 7th clash. If Pulev declines, the IBF must inform him that if he declines, then an alternative challenger, I think that would be Kawanaki. An alternative challenger can step in his place if he so declines to accept the position of stand-in. But let's just make sure IBF rankings. IBF heavyweight rankings. Yeah. Okay. That's the most recent IBF rankings. Heavyweight. Ruiz Jr. Remember, if he steps out with injury, then boom. What's this, WBO? That's WBO, not IBF. You almost tricked me. Almost got tricked. Didn't see that there. IBF. Ruiz, if he steps aside through injury, boom, he's out. Pulev is the next guy. So he gets the offer. If he declines, then the next guy gets the offer. IBF always seems to keep the second space empty. I don't know. So realistically, everybody gets bumped up one place. So the next guy is Kawanaki. Is he going to decline the big money in Daria? Come to think of it, is Pulev with his issues with Jenny Suchet. $600,000 lawsuit she's got hanging over his head. Is he going to step aside? Is he going to step aside when he needs that money, just in case he loses? just in case he loses? Nah, no way, no how. He's taking it. But just in case he does not, then we got Kawanaki. Okay, so that, my friends, is my insurance policy. The insurance policy that Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, The Zone must have in place to ensure that on the 7th of December in Diriyah, Saudi Arabia, a heavyweight title fight takes place that cuts out any form of nonsense that Andreas the Ponce Ruiz might try to employ. Because remember, he was originally asking for 50 million dollars. His wish will not be granted. He's getting somewhere between a reputed 1 million to 3 million more on top of the reputed 9 million he was supposed to be getting. So that takes him up to a maximum of $12 million. That's Andy Ruiz. Maximum $12 million. Almost 5 times less than he said he wanted. Ridiculous argument nonetheless. Now proven. Between 11 and 12 million is what Andy Ruiz will be getting. If he pulls a fast one, then he misses out on that. And Pulev steps in to take his place. If by some twist of fate he declines, then there is Kawanaki, Adam Kawanaki, the Polish American. Okay, I think I've summed that up nicely, made it very, very clear. The insurance policy which must be in place in case Andy the Ponce pulls a fast one, or tries to pull a fast one, or even thinks about pulling a fast one. That is the insurance policy for Eddie Hearn, which Eddie Hearn must employ. What say you? Have your say in the comments section. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your social media platforms. And don't forget, I've activated my Twitter account, Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Enjoy this beautiful bank holiday, sunny bank holiday in the UK and wherever you may be. It's Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, and I'm out. The insurance policy.